when it took over from Saambou's books through securitisation. Now, they allege they were charged higher interest rates compared to white homeowners and have been waiting for years for FNB to pay back the money the bank took from them for years. Now, the matter has headed to the Equality Court, and Special Assignment Producer Lindile Mpanza investigated the matter further.
At 21 years old, Franz Mukumane joined the police force and bought this, his first house, here in KwaMhlanga, Mpumalanga. It was an achievement for him. Cost 79,000 rand, and it was financed by the now defunct Saambou Bank.
I bought this house through the person who was building the houses for the bank, Mr. Ngoma. So I approached him, and then he gave me the forms. He took the forms to the bank, and then they built the house for me.
However, he regretted his purchase.
The house was so expensive in such a way that the bond was just increasing every month. I don't know what was happening with that.
He alleges he had to estimate what he would have to pay from month to month and therefore couldn't budget accordingly.
I was bankrupt in such an extent that I nearly sold the house because I was suffering because of I didn't have money.
Franz alleges that on a salary of approximately 6,000 rand, his initial bond repayment was about 2,500 rand, and this increased by approximately 600 rand. In Cape Town, Emerald Van Zyl, a financial investigator, says he has been fighting banks and their abuse of consumers for years. He is asking the Cape Equality Court to rule that FNB allegedly discriminated against black bondholders by charging illegally inflated interest rates of 30 to 40% more than white customers. The total claim is likely to exceed 3 billion rand.
What they are saying is that their interest rate was not linked to prime. And secondly, they say that the base rate is the prime rate of mortgage loans. It's called the base rate. It is 2.25% lower than the prime rate. They say that the base rate was only applicable on new loans and not on existing loans, and they could charge whatever interest rate they feel fit to charge.
Van Zyl says although this case involves FNB, he has proof of discrimination by other banks, which Special Assignment is continuing to investigate. He alleges the internal policy taken by FNB was not to inform low-cost housing clients what interest rates they were being charged.
From the 1st of September 1998, it became a policy, internal policy, not to print interest rates on letters, facility letters to low-cost housing. And then this policy was changed in the 1st of September the next year to say that no letters whatsoever must be sent to low-cost housing at all. So these people were unaware what interest rates they were paying.
And then in 2010, Van Zyl says he was leaked a Saambou customer database. He says it showed roughly 80,000 customer accounts, of which 23,000 were low-cost housing clients. Retired sociology professor Connie Groenewald investigated further and estimated that approximately 99% of these low-cost housing units were black-owned. Van Zyl then analyzed the customer accounts and found they were being charged as much as 30% or more than high-cost housing customers.
What I received was a file with names, an account number, and a number of other items of information, but not on the file itself an indication by the financial institution of the race of a person. What I was asked to do was to see if the classification of people according to race done by Mr. Van Zyl was holding any integrity? Was it a truthful way of classifying them?
Groeneveld's work suggested that the low-cost housing units referred to in the database were for government employees who qualified for government subsidies, for which the recipients had to be black and earn below a certain income threshold. Van Zyl says in his affidavit before the Equality Court, he has stated that high-cost housing customers benefited from a drop in interest rates, but not low-cost or black customers with a mortgage loan less than 220,000 rand. On top of this, he says the interest rates charged to several black customers were kept at the old higher rate, even though the prime lending rate had dropped for all other clients. In 2013, the North Gauteng High Court dismissed Van Zyl's case with costs. The judge found no evidence of racism, but Van Zyl argues that the judgment was flawed. FNB refutes Van Zyl's allegations, calling them baseless. They say they are defending the matter before the Equality Court. The Banking Association of South Africa said this is not something they can look into, and that they don't comment on individual banks. The Reserve Bank said that this was a conduct matter, which falls under the mandate of the Financial Sector Conduct Authority in terms of the Financial Sector Regulation Act. The National Credit Regulator said Section 61 of the National Credit Act stipulates how consumers are protected against discrimination in respect of credit.
What the provision indicates is that a credit provider must not directly or indirectly unfairly discriminate against any person on one or more grounds as set out in the Constitution. These grounds would specifically be issues like race, gender, culture, as well as disability. The National Credit Act makes provision for certain steps that consumers can take when they feel they've been discriminated against. They have the option of approaching the Equality Court, instituting proceedings, or they may approach the National Credit Regulator, who will then in turn evaluate such complaints, and if it's been found to be valid, the National Credit Regulator will then refer such matters to the Equality Court.
So my advice to consumers is to make contact with our office. We'll guide them through the process. There is a dispute process that they have to follow, and we'll help them through that. And that they must understand that the more information they can give us, the better. It mustn't just be a vague feeling that there was discrimination. That unfortunately is not going to assist. They have to have facts, dates, times, and do it as soon as possible. Our services are completely free of charge, and if they do not accept our outcome, if the consumer is not happy with the outcome, they still have all their rights to pursue the matter elsewhere.
The affected homeowners still believe they have a fighting chance.
I use my name first and foremost, that's all I heard, and from using the name I got a small loan of 8,000 rand.
I remember there is a time la sa zama kumfunela umsebenzi.
What do you need when you cast your vote?
We need to have education.
We need a new model.
We need more justice.
We want to be employers.
We must clean up the ANC out of our system.
We are going to deal with corruption.
That's what we need to do.
For the answers, don't miss the all-new season of The Big Debate every Sunday at 7 p.m. on SABC News Channel 404 and SABC 2, starting 10th of March.